Dawn had not fully arrived yet. A thin mist rested over the fields of Yasnaya Polyana. Somewhere in the distance, a crow cried, and then silence. A man stood by the window. The candle beside him had burned down completely, wax slowly dripping onto the desk. He had been awake all night, not to write a story, but to wrestle with a thought that refused to leave him. If I am going to die, then what is all this living for? That man was Leo Tolstoy. Years earlier, in this same grand estate, a child had been born into privilege, a noble family, vast lands, a respected name, everything a person could want, on paper. But before the house could fill with his laughter, death arrived quietly. First his mother, then his father, and the child was left alone, in a house full of rooms and empty of warmth. Tolstoy later wrote that this was when he first understood something essential. Life is not kind, it is simply real. As a young man, he tried to outrun that truth. In Moscow and St. Petersburg, he lived loudly, gambling through the night, drinking, laughing too hard, waking up with headaches, and a growing sense of emptiness. He kept a journal where he judged himself mercilessly. I am weak, undisciplined, selfish. He wasn't a hero, he wasn't a saint, and strangely, that honesty would later become his greatest strength. War stopped him. In the Crimean War, surrounded by mud, blood, and fear, Tolstoy was no longer a reckless nobleman. At night, by dim fires, he heard wounded soldiers groan in pain. Death was no longer abstract, it was close, breathing. He saw how quickly human beings break, how thin the line is between pride and terror. From that moment on, writing changed for him. It was no longer entertainment. It became a way to understand people. When War and Peace was published, Russia was stunned. People said, "This isn't a novel, it's life itself." But even at the peak of praise, Tolstoy was not at peace. He wrote Anna Karenina, and then something inside him collapsed. He woke up at night in panic, imagining ropes, imagining guns. He later confessed, "They hid the ropes from me for fear I would hang myself." This was not the voice of a famous writer. It was the cry of a human being. Tolstoy questioned everything: the church, organized religion, wealth, social class. He dressed like a peasant, worked the fields, made his own shoes. He believed that truth lived in simplicity. The church excommunicated him. The aristocracy mocked him, but the peasants understood. In his final years, his great house no longer felt like home. A wall of misunderstanding stood between him and his wife. His children were torn between love and resentment. And then, one cold night, Tolstoy left. No goodbye, no plan, a small train, a remote station, high fever. The man who once shook the literary world lay on a simple bed, struggling to breathe. At a tiny station called Ostapovo, his life ended, not in a palace, not surrounded by honor, but exactly as he had lived, searching for meaning. And perhaps that is Tolstoy's greatest lesson. Life is not meant to be comfortable, it is meant to be truthful. And some people burn their entire lives just to leave behind a small light for others to see.